All right, welcome back to another episode of Good Mom, everyone. I'm Sunny. I am a mom with 4 kids. 3 of those kids are, actually 2 are in elementary school. 1 is in middle school and 1 is in high school. The one that's in middle school, it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Urban. I love you so much. And I am a good mom.
Yes, you are. And I'm Lindsay Andriotti, and I have 2 kids. One of them is 26, one of them is 29. I have a couple of bonus kids and a bonus grandson. And I'm super excited about working with you, Sunny, another fellow good mom, on a project that's been near and dear to my heart, which is I'm a good mom. And I think we have a lot of other good moms to share this with too. So that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. That's what this podcast is all about. So I'm excited, Lindsay, because today we thought it would be fun to talk about a chart that was created for today, since today is our launch day for our podcast, the first time we're recording for our show.
Yes.
And I also want to find out I'm just learning this about ChatGPT, that you can drop an image in ChatGPT and it can kind of tell a story around the image. So we thought this would be a fun thing to do, is to look at this chart.
So today is April 23rd, 2025, and we officially launched our podcast today at 11:11 a.m. Daytona Beach time, because I'm in Daytona Beach. And Sunny is actually in San Diego, California. So we could have picked a chart that was at 10:11 in the morning, but hey, we kind of split the middle. So we're at 11:11. That's what this chart reflects right here. And I just drugged this chart right into ChatGPT, into a question mark. And I said, what kind of story would you tell about a podcast with this astrological chart? And the rest is what ChatGPT said. And I'll just go through it really quick. So what a beautiful and intriguing chart for a podcast. Based on this astrological event launched on April 23rd in Daytona Beach, here's a rich story that you could tell about the show's energy, purpose, and potential impact. I don't need to do all the detail. I'm sure you guys can read if you're looking ahead. But I think what's really cool is that we were born under the steady, nurturing gaze of the Taurus sun. So our sun sign is Taurus on April 23rd. It isn't just a podcast. It's a movement of grounded wisdom designed to nourish the soul and empower listeners, especially women and mothers, to trust in their inherent strength, stability, and sacred worth. It's about redefining what it means to be a good mom, not through perfectionism, but through authenticity, connection, and presence. So that's our sun sign. Our moon or rising sign is in Aquarius in the 8th house. So this indicates that the show will be emotionally intelligent and future focused. The podcast will tap into deeper, sometimes taboo, a lot of times taboo, huh, Sunny? Topics with a very progressive and mindful heart. It's unafraid to challenge cultural norms and motherhood and identity and emotional legacy. And that's very true about both Sunny and I. And we think it's kind of the future for kids to have moms that can do some of these things. So you're going to hear about that for sure. The moon suggests a loyal community of listeners. That would be you.
And that's you guys.
That's you guys. Who feel seen and supported. And I'll tell you, that is really true for us. We want to see you. We want to connect with you.
Yeah.
And we're going to build as many ways as possible to do that with our community. So Mercury, important planet in astrological terms, especially because I'm a Gemini and Mercury rules my sun sign. So I'm all about communication. That's kind of, if you get to know me, you're going to learn that. Bold communication and leadership are central to the voice of this podcast. Mercury says the podcast will be fast talking, honest, and passionate. Yep. We are unafraid to address the hard truths and to lead with conviction. There's a natural gift for advocacy and inspiring action. Yep. We definitely want to continue to encourage you to take action. Venus, which is the love sign in relationship, it has a very interesting conjunct Mercury with its midheaven. So this is a public love letter to mothers. Our podcast is becoming that. We're going to be saying a lot of things and doing a lot of things that bring love to the notion of mothers worldwide.
Yep.
Mars is in Pisces. We do visionary storytelling and transcendent topics. Yep. We're going to talk about some things like healing, forgiveness, all kinds of emotional awareness, and how we can be good to ourselves as well as our kids. So Pisces is a very deep sign, and it's about us being connected to that deeper part of motherhood. And then we have Saturn in Pisces, which is also very interesting because Saturn is a big planet. So there's usually a lot that it wants to say. And it says there's a lot of karmic weight and responsibility here. The podcast is here to teach. Yeah, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So we're going to try to ensure that our content is structured, meaningful, and capable of lasting impact. It may even dive into spirituality, astrology, philosophy, and maternal lineage across culture. Cancer rising. This is really cool. This is our rising sign, which feels like home, and Cancer is home. So with this ascendant, the tone should feel nurturing, warm, and protective. Our hosts are likely going to be seen as wise. I don't know, Sunny, maybe you. Intuitive, emotionally intelligent, and maybe even a soul doula, helping birth new identities. And I'll tell you, I've been called a spiritual doula, I've been called a business doula, and now apparently a soul doula.
So there we go. Doula. I've never heard. I love that term though. Soul doula.
Don't you accept it? It's like really cool. It's about
I accept that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Right. So we are going to be stepping out boldly into the world. And sometimes it's going to be a little messy, but we are going to stake our claim as good moms, and we're going to find more good moms, and we're just going to continue to serve the good mom space, raising our voices and modeling new paradigms for feminine leadership. So that's it. We're going to put this in the show notes so that you guys can see what it is that we were up to. I mean, how cool and how fun is that? And I just randomly asked my beautiful friend Nadia to do that for us when she was sitting in my backyard. And I said, hey, I think we should have a chart for our podcast. And
yes, the birth of our podcast.
The birth of our podcast. So here it is. La, la, la.
It's just so amazing, the synchronicity that I'm already seeing from the moment, Lindsay, you said, hey, I have this idea for a show. What do you think?
I know.
To the fact, it was just so many different things. Like I think I was on my way to Florida, which is where you live, and I was thinking about starting something, but I didn't want to do it on my own. I mean, just crazy. And then today, being my son's birthday, I was just, it's like, what's going on here in a very beautiful way? What's going on?
This is how it usually happens. And I think one of the things that our listeners will get to know is that Sunny and I are very conscious human beings. We spend a lot of time studying spirituality, studying flow, how to be in flow, how to get out of, messes by meditation and staying still, surrendering. We're both very God-loving, and you can call that however you want. We just know that we're part of one big thing, and we're in a motion to do something for women and some dads, honestly, too, who end up playing the role of mom. And there is a role called mom, and it is a very necessary role. And we're entering a time of the divine feminine, which that doesn't mean anything other than everybody has masculine and feminine energies. And how we present those and how we share those is going to be valuable to our kids in the next generation. So whatever we do, we're going to be fun, transparent, honest, a little bit weird, totally normal. And we hope you'll think you're coming to our house for dinner, because that's literally how we're going to treat this show.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see what we come up with, and, not just chatting, but maybe changing up the format here and there, having a good time. And really, that's what it's about. I mean, Lindsay and I both believe that we're in a time period right now where things are changing dramatically. I mean, I can even say from when my kids were little and when I was having children, giving birth, all of that, my whole view on parenting has changed because the world has changed, because things have advanced spiritually. And now, I mean, I look at something that I did, when my kids were little, I'm like, I probably would have handled that a lot differently now. And I think there's going to be a lot of parents, maybe all parents, that start looking at the way we're doing things and going, there might be a better way to do that. I'm not really sure what that is yet. You know, they may be thinking this. I'm not really sure what that is, but maybe the way we've always done things isn't necessarily the best way.
Yep.
Maybe there's a better way to, for things to unfold, to trust our kids more, to trust our intuition more. Because so many times, we've been told to do things a certain way, but, it's like that gut feeling inside of you is like, that's not right, or that's not right for my kid. Or maybe that's right for one kid, but it's not right for another kid. So it's about trusting yourself as opposed to listening and really caring what everyone else is doing, because you are unique, your child is unique, and the relationship you share is special, and it should be treated that way.
Absolutely.
So we're excited to dive into all of this, because what works for one kid obviously doesn't work for another kid. And Lindsay and I are still figuring out stuff too, but we're doing this all together. And I think that's, what's really important.
Yes. So. And we're going to be a couple of moms who've been through some stuff and who've heard some stories and tried some stuff and, but we're also, I think both of us are learning from our kids. And I think one of the very special aspects of who we are is that we're very humble relative to how our children teach us. And so you're going to hear a lot of that. If you're the kind of person that thinks I'm the parent and I'm in control, well, you should listen further, because that's not accurate.
Not even
close. And so what we've learned over the course of time is that there are some ways to be the adult, the parent, the boundary setter, the person who keeps them alive, for long enough that they can be on their own. But there's some things to know about that your kid is just remembering what their soul's purpose is, and your job is to be there for it to unfold. And we're going to talk about ways to do that, and we're going to have time together to listen to your specifics. And oh my gosh, we could have so many things to talk about, and yet we have to start with this first episode. So welcome. And you're a good mom.
Welcome. You are. #GoodMom.
#GoodMom.